Hello, fellas and ladies out there. Look at you go. I'm so close to being done with all that dastardly tiff. Just a few more, then I'm never watching movies again. But in the meantime, there is a link in the description that leads to an article on the best website, I think, ever. I've got to talk to scientists about that. It's called Bite Size Breakdown. Have you heard of it? Or everything I watched is there, and not only reviewed, but in terms of TIFF, ranked. So if you're not gonna go read that and follow the site on socials, like, I don't know, go to jail. Next up is the highly anticipated film, Frankenstein. The next film from master filmmaker Guillermo del Toro. This is his interpretation of the classic tale of Frankenstein from Mary Shelley, following the mad scientist Victor Frankenstein creating life out of dead parts, and this film follows not only his journey, but the journey of the creature finding life. You're coming into a Guillermo del Toro movie, you know damn well that this is going to, at the very least, visually be a stunning feat. Guillermo del Toro is an absolute expert at crafting worlds and tones with his movies. They always feel a little fantastical, especially in a film like this, where it is fantastical. The costume work, the production design, the sets, everything in this movie, like, builds to this weird gothic, mystical world. And the way people talk, the way it's shot by Dan Laustsen, cinematography is gorgeous. Everyone who's looked at the trailer went, that looks like a Netflix movie. No, it doesn't. But you all knew this. You all knew Guillermo del Toro movie, it's gonna be stunning to, at the very least, look at. Now let's talk about the way he adapts Frankenstein. Now, personally speaking, I can see why some people think this is very long. It is. It is 2.5 hours. I can see some fat that could have been trimmed. I do. That being said, there wasn't really a moment that I wasn't, captivated by it all. And maybe part of that is the filmmaking. Maybe part of that is definitely that it was just, it's so easy to get sucked into this world building. But I do think part of it is that it is a very good retelling of Frankenstein. It's cut into two halves. The first half is about Victor Frankenstein. The other half is about the creature. Now, the creature part is way better than the Victor Frankenstein part, but I do want to say that I still was really captivated by the Victor Frankenstein storyline. Watching this narcissist, be driven by madness, his upbringing, his fascination with Mia Goth's character, who is his soon-to-be sister-in-law. I thought that was really interesting. I really was into this story. I was just into this. I definitely see this is where the film lags the most, but I was all in. I was definitely just sucked into all. I will say there's a thing with Christoph Waltz's character that was definitely not great. Definitely the moment where I was like, don't think this was necessary. I don't know if I needed this, except to push Victor's character to another extreme. But overall, I was really into it. I thought Oscar Isaac was pretty outstanding. I believed every moment he was in, his madness. I believed it. I think he portrayed madness and narcissism very, very well. But the back half is where the movie really shines, and that's with the creature, who I want to start off before I get into it by saying that Jacob Elordi as the monster, the creature I should say, the movie really wants you to know it's the creature. He is absolutely incredible. Yes, you got this full body makeup transformation, and it is pretty stunning to look at, the way his whole body transforms into the creature. But Jacob Elordi just gives this character so much depth. There's a lot of heart to this character, and a lot of this very childlike innocence and naivete. Search for meaning and answers that Jacob Elordi does an outstanding job portraying. He is easily the best performance in this movie, and probably the best performance I've seen him give. He is absolutely breathtaking here. This is clearly the movie Del Toro wanted to make the most. This is why he's so passionate. It's because he wanted to make a movie about this creature. He obviously loves his monsters. We know this about him. He's a weirdo boy, Guillermo Del Toro. But the tenderness and heart, despite the horror, comes in very hard here. Yeah, they do have some moments with him where he's straight up like a Terminator, where he's ripping wolves apart, where I'm I don't know if that kind of meshes with what he's trying to do here. But I do think that this is where the messages and the personality of this movie really shines the brightest. There's beauty to behold in this character, in the creature's journey to humanity, who's actually the monster, and thus the movie's quote, only monsters play God. I don't think the movie's really doing anything particularly new to adapt Mary Shelley's book, but I do think it is a worthy adaptation, mostly because of how the creature is portrayed. Jacob Elordi has a ness to him, but mostly the way that the movie plays with his growing curiosity, the way he initially only can say Victor and he is liberated by saying Elizabeth. I think this is where the movie's genius comes in. I think this is the parts of the movie that I loved the most. It's why I was so endeared by Frankenstein. I didn't get to the point of tears, but I got emotional. I think this movie is inherently beautiful. I think there's true love in this movie that Guillermo del Toro puts in every one of his movies, obviously beyond his personality and, creative, filmmaking. That I'm actually very curious as to why, this is, being mixed positive. I mean, granted, I think the reviews have gotten way better after, since Venice. And I will say, of his recent output, aka, Nightmare Alley, Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, this might be my least favorite of the four, although it's not that far off from Nightmare Alley, which I also loved. But I think this is as good as those four. I think it stands, by those four absolutely excellently. And I do think Frankenstein is an absolute treat for anyone who wants to watch a master filmmaker continue to expand on his craft, because I think Frankenstein is one of the year's best. I think it's beautiful. I think it's not lovely to look at. This is not a horror movie. I would not call it scary, but I do think that Frankenstein has a lot under the surface beyond its aesthetic, and to me the ends definitely justify the means. Yes, Frankenstein is on the long side, and not every single narrative is as amazing as the creature's narrative, but I was locked into Guillermo del Toro's filmmaking and world building from the jump, and took it all the beauty and bloodshed that it offered, as well as a career best performance from Jacob Elordi. I love this movie, and you can't wait to keep watching it and dissecting it, and I'm giving it 9 monsters out of 10, but friendly ones, not scary ones. That'd be bad. I think Oscar-wise, I think this movie's going into Best Picture. It got second place at the Toronto Film Festival. Reviews are kind of actually at a point of these are very, at the very least, good enough. We all know it's getting text galore. I think cinematography, production design, makeup, costumes are pretty locked in. 3 of those are in very heavy wing position. I think score is pretty likely. Sound is pretty likely if it gets into picture, I should say. Actually, I don't think it needs sound. In terms of above the line, I think screenplay could happen. I just need space. A part of me thinks Jacob Elordi is going to happen, but I can't put him in because of Adam Sandler and Jeremy Strong, so I got to watch those movies and see what happens. But I do think that, with Del Toro and the love for him, I think that it's going to be very well perceived by the Academy. I have no question that it's going to work. I actually think pretty confidently this is going to get into Best Picture, but at a bottom, that's a bottom tier, which, I get isn't the most confident thing in the world, but I don't know. Netflix movies are dropping out like crazy. I think this is easily going to become Netflix's top priority, and it'll get in at the end of the day. All right, that's all I got for you. Let's grab and share. Bye. Bye-bye.